Well, I turned on the TV, what a sorry sight. Left us out there hugging every terrorist in the night. And they scream from the river to the sea while rockets fly, then cry when the bad guys make the good guys die. They'll defend every dictator from Tehran to Havana, long as he hates America. He's their kind of man. Oh, it ain't right and left no more. It's right and wrong. The left keeps picking the bad guys every time they sing their song. They love the tyrants, the thugs, and the crooks, while the rest of us are working and reading the good book. Blue states are broken, red states are rolling in dough, but they still scream tax the rich like it's some kind of show. They march with blow-up rats in rainbow capes, blue-haired Karens and beta males in their safe space parade. They glue themselves to the road for the climate today. Tomorrow they're blocking traffic for some new Marxist play. They'll cancel your job if you don't use the right word, but defend every groomer and pedophile they've ever heard. It ain't right and left no more. It's right and wrong. The left keeps backing the bad guys, singing the same. They cheer for the terrorists, the socialists, the crooks, while their cities burn down and they rewrite all the books. Blue states tax you till you're broke, red states let you keep your pay, but they still scream, eat the red, every single day. California's bankrupt, New York City's a mess, Chicago's on fire and they blame it on right-wing stress. They spend like drunk sailors on every dumb idea, while red states are thriving with low taxes and cold beer. They print more money than a counterfeit ring, then wonder why inflation's got the middle class on the brink. They say they're for the people, but they hate the working man. They love every tyrant with a 5-year plan. From Hamas to Maduro, from Beijing to Tehran, if he hates America, he's their kind of man. It ain't right and left no more. It's right. Dying red states are doing just fine, but they'll keep on spending till they run out of other people's dimes. Yeah, it ain't about left and right anymore. It's about right and dead wrong. Pass the beer, boys. We got work to do.
All right, hello everybody, welcome. This is the Sights and Sounds of Earth. This is our Sunday night Memorial Day show. And yeah, we are here. We'll be here also tomorrow night on the holiday for a full show, maybe even an extended show. I haven't decided yet. I'm looking for stuff to do, and I may come on a little early tomorrow. If there's any reason for me to come on any earlier. But also I may just come on early anyway. I don't know. But I will be here all day working in the studio. And so if anything breaks tomorrow, I will be here. But hello everybody and welcome. My name is Ian. This is StarShip Adventures. And this is the show, The Sights and Sounds of Earth. And I hope everybody is well tonight. And you guys can take a peek right here. This is the little peek behind the curtain. This is StarShip Studios. I've got that side of the studio currently shut down just because of the heat and the issues that I'm having. But this side over here, we've got, this is a Windows 10 machine with 7 screens. Over here, we've got a Linux supercomputer that we built, that Joseph and I built. And that has the channel on it that does the music. And then behind me back here, I don't even have the screens turned on, but behind me back here, there's 3 more Linux machines that do all of the other things over on Starship After Dark. All that's up over on that side is the Broadcastify feed. That's it. I've got that whole side of the studio shut down over there. That's why I brought the camera over for the tighter view. But anyway, there you go. I've got my laptop over here with a 32-inch screen here. So just within my arm's reach here, I have 4 Linux machines. 3 of them are running Zoran. 1 is running Ubuntu, I think it is. And then I've got this one running Windows 10. I got the laptop on Windows 11 because I haven't dealt with that yet. Dispatch, no worries, dude. Everything's good. Everything's fine. All perfect. You know, sometimes when you type something, people misunderstand it and it doesn't sound right. It doesn't come out the way it was in your head. I get all that. It's all good. So anyway, yeah, this is the studio, and I broadcast live from here most nights unless I'm on vacation or on some kind of trip or something. Not that kind of trip. Just kidding. All right, so there you go. This is StarShip Adventures. And this is StarShip Studios. We are broadcasting worldwide tonight on YouTube, the world's largest broadcast platform, and we are fiber optic all the way to the internet here. So you're hearing my voice without any, without everything's going from this room right here. I don't know if you guys know that. I take for granted that everybody knows what I say when I say we're fiber all the way to the internet. We're glass all the way to Al Gore's house. What does that mean? Well, what it means is, and this is really cool, there's going to be, I know some of you guys already noticed, but let me just take 2 minutes and explain, okay? They came out with a much better way of doing this. For years, we would send voltage through 2 wires. This is how they sent teletypes in the 1800s. Telegraph stations connecting the east and west coasts of the country would send messages by completing a circuit using 2 copper lines. Finally, Ma Bell comes along and creates the first phones, and we all know that what happened there. I don't need to go through that. I'm sitting here looking at a picture of the Edison Ford Estate. We can get to that later. Basically, Ma Bell comes along and starts running twisted pair. You ever heard the term twisted pair? What the hell does that mean? Well, it means 2 wires twisted together. That's all it means, a twisted pair of wires. And these wires are coated in plastic so that they don't short out. and they will run the length. Well, the problem with running voltage down copper lines is that voltage weakens. Okay, even though they're using an alternating current, that voltage weakens as it goes down the line. And so you have to have amplified stations along the way to bring the signal back up. It's the same thing with broadband. Cable came out. Now we've got broadband. Now we've got an internet connection that's a lot faster than dial-up, but yet it still has a lot of problems. It's very susceptible to RF interference, things like that. And lightning can be transmitted, and power surges can be transmitted on all these different kinds of lines. Then finally, just recently, we were all getting our internet from cable, from broadband cable. Remember, that's what everybody says, broadband, Comcast. Well, they ran fiber into my neighborhood. I got a little fiber hub about 3 blocks away. And what fiber is fiber optic. And the reason they call it optic is because it actually uses wavelengths of light. And it sends thousands of signals a millisecond through this piece of glass. It's as thin as a thick horsehair. And it connects my house to the box down the street. Literally that thin. You have to be careful with the wire. If you bend it, it breaks and you don't have the internet no more. But this wire, if protected properly, doesn't degrade. It's kind of like we went from tapes to CDs. Remember, tapes had all these problems. They were demagnetizing over time, moving parts, all the problems we had with tapes. Then one day we came out with optical CDs, remember? Because now we're using a laser to punch holes in a piece of foil under a piece of plastic, and all of a sudden that becomes the new way to store things. Well, the same basic thing happened with transmission of technology. We went to a medium other than copper wire or an antenna wire, which is what cable is. So what we've gone to now is fiber optic. And so it's literally a spun little piece of glass that's as thick as a horsehair, a big thick horsehair. And it runs between my house and that connection down the street. And because of that, they can provide me up to 7 gigabits a second. Up and down simultaneously. That's incredible. That's 1,000 times faster than Comcast could provide. So, when I say we're secure all the way to the internet, we're glass all the way to the internet, what that basically means is I don't have any wire connecting me to anything. It's just a piece of glass. And my little box up here on the shelf sends little bits of light down that line, down the glass. And that's how you're seeing my show right now. But because of that, it doesn't transmit electrical energy like lightning and power surges. Because of that, it doesn't need to have booster after booster after booster. After storms, our cable was still up, but there was no electricity to run the boosters between here and the cable building. So we still didn't have cable for a month because they had to get all the boosters powered back up again before we would get cable way out here in the woods. With fiber optic, that's not a problem. There's no booster needed. It goes all the way as long as it needs to go. Yeah, the missing scientists is a thing. I actually have started some research on that, and I plan to do a multi-part series on it. I think this is more important than people think, and I think we have to figure out what's happening to our scientists. Nice. That's cool. Yeah, we'll do guests. That's fine. We'll set it up. We'll do that through email. Yes, I would love to have someone come on that knows more than me about it. That's what I would love to do. That's awesome, Dispatch. I'm putting this in my show notes. I'm putting this whole thing that you just typed in my show notes so I can get to all that stuff. Ooh. I actually have a Google document that's my show notes from each night. Because there's no way I can do my agenda plus get everything covered that's breaking and everything else and do it all while I'm trying to do a bunch of other stuff that people are giving me. So sometimes I just put it aside. I've still got 3 or 4 emails in there I got to answer too. I'm not good at answering emails. Eventually I'll find someone out there that wants to do my correspondence or do stuff like that. I haven't asked yet, but eventually I'm going to ask you guys who would like to take a bigger role in the channel. Maybe helping me out with keeping an eye on all the social media pages and stuff like that. There's so much to do. It's impossible for one person to run a channel like this. It's crazy. Okay, I've got all that now. 12 missing scientists so far. Yeah, I saw that was on. I think PBS is showing it. Yes, it just works. I said it was fiber into the box up there. Yes, I'm still using 3 routers in here. I use 3 separate routers. This computer is hooked directly to the system. I got a router in the house that's just for Wi-Fi in the house, and then I've got 2 non-Wi-Fi routers out here, and all of my computers are hooked up to via a network wire. I don't use a bunch of Wi-Fi in here because I've already got the RF is already off the chain inside here. It's like a Faraday cage. And so none of my computers, except my laptop, none of the computers use the Wi-Fi. And that keeps the amount of RF in here down. Yeah, well, Tucker should have thought of that before he went off the deep end. I agree with a lot of it. I even agree with some of the reason he went off the deep end. But nobody's going to listen to you if you're the crazy one. You know? I could go off the deep end about stuff. But I try not to, because if you get too into it and you get too crazy and you start saying things that don't make sense, nobody's going to believe you. So I try not to get that way. And he's the same way. I think that I don't know. I think Tucker Carlson had a real good thing going, and I think he got too big for his britches. You know, this happened to a guy here locally. This has happened to a bunch of different people recently. They get too big for their britches, and they think all these people watch me every night. And what they realize is when they leave Fox News or they leave our radio or they leave wherever they leave, it doesn't work that way. The audience is generally speaking loyal to the channel, not the host. And so they leave thinking, I'm going to take these 6 million people watching me every night. I'm going to take these 6 million people over to YouTube and I'll be able to make enough money to live comfortably. Doesn't really work that way. Doesn't transition that way. You'll take about 10% of your audience at the most. I know that seems crazy. Tucker actually did better than that, better than the average in the numbers that he took with him. And he was able to get on his show every day, but it still was not enough. I don't know what's going to happen with him. Massey. Yeah, I doubt he's good with social media. Okay, so there's a lot going on. On the screen tonight, we got Fox right above me because there's a possibility of breaking news on about 3 different fronts right now, so I'm watching that. We're watching for breaking news right above me here. Above that, there is some protesting going on today. There's also some positive demonstrations going on today that are pro-America and they're pro our troops and things like that. And so what I did was I found the only guy out there that's got a composite going right now. So I'm not really sure what's on this, but these are both images coming in from either where a protest is going on in Portland, or also there is a positive march going on in Portland that's pro troops. So it's supposed to be one of each. I'm not sure. The center one there, you can see the firefighters going in. This is purported to be live from Fox 11. And I think I think this thing's calming down. It may not explode. That's Southern California. That's the aerospace plant's chemical tank that's been leaking and burning and doing all kinds of fun shit. And then we got Storm Runner Media out there, and he's been watching this amazing storm cell. The ingredients are not really there for big tornadoes, but it could still spawn one. So anyway, we've got a couple of storm chasers out here right now, but I don't know if any of them are actually broadcasting visually. I don't think so, other than Storm Runner Media up there. There's not a whole lot of really bad weather tonight. This is the only area that we're actually watching right here for severe weather, and it's going to be more severe thunderstorm warnings than it is going to be tornadoes. But this is the area right here that we are watching, and right now a severe thunderstorm watch, but no, there's not a lot of warnings. It's kind of calmed down. We do have a couple of thunderstorm warnings way down here, and this is going to be in South Dakota. This is in that same area I just showed you. You've got these two areas right here. This one just dropped. It looks like it's in Menno, south of Freeman, and that's going to be in South Dakota. And this whole system is moving right now into Minnesota and Iowa, and eventually we'll get into Illinois and Wisconsin during the overnight. No severe long track tornadoes or anything like that is expected tonight. Here's the outlook. You can see there is an area there where we've got a 2 out of 5, which is not a real high alert for tornadoes. So, and there's your three thunderstorm warnings right there. That we're looking at. So this is where we're going to keep an eye on things for tonight. And let's go ahead and go to the local radar. There we go. And we'll keep this in motion as we watch what's going on there. So that's what's going on around the screen. Now let's talk about what's going on around the world. Star Wars franchise in serious trouble as the box office at the box office, the Mandalorian and Grogu, whatever it is, I don't know, it sounds like a baby talking with shit in its mouth. The Mandalorian and Grogu disappoints in opening box office. Does this surprise anybody? After adjusting for inflation, the $81.9 million opening trails Solo by $30 million. A flop so bad it ended plans for an entire series. They've already canceled the series they were getting ready to make. Well, it's official. The Star Trek franchises, Star Trek's doing the same thing. Star Wars franchise is in serious trouble when the Walt Disney Company bought Lucasfilm in 2012 and kept Kathleen Kennedy in charge. Expectations for the future of the franchise were very high. Disney would bring a new trilogy to movie theaters, immediately set out plans for separate trilogies, standalone films based on beloved characters, and Disney Plus streaming television shows. Then the reboot franchise hit theaters. While The Force Awakens was a gigantic hit, each successive film brought fewer ticket sales and smaller audiences than the one before, because each film became more woke than the one before. Next thing you know, everybody's gay. Darth Vader's at a gay club at night or something, I'm sure, by now. This is ridiculous. And I'm sure that the The Emperor, I'm sure he was gay too, and about half the stormtroopers probably are as well. And who knows, they could all be.
MMIW G2SLGBTQQIA+.
And so who knows? Some streaming shows like The Acolyte were so laughably woke that they were concealed after one season for low viewership. Films like Solo flopped, canceling plans for future trilogies based on the adventures of young Han Solo. The writing wasn't great. The graphics were wonderful. The computerized, they can make ships look great nowadays. But the writing is marginal. That's where part of the thing is. And then it's woke. It's woke. And Star Wars has the same problem Star Trek has. The people writing it have never watched the previous movies or shows. I don't understand how that happens, but they got people writing for Star Trek that don't even understand what Star Trek is. It's crazy. Pre-release tracking was not particularly positive. Rogue One was a marginal success. Andor was apparently a marginal success. But they've just been going downhill. Disney decided to press on by also focusing on Baby Yoda character, which I guess is Grogu. Pre-release tracking, not particularly positive, however, and with the first box office from the long Memorial Day weekend now available, it's confirmed that many have long suspected Hollywood's most valuable film property is in major trouble. While the Memorial Day holiday will help the 4-day gross look better, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday opening box office for The Mandalorian was, for this latest movie, was 81.9 million. That's hardly a flop, but when compared to previous Star Wars films, it shows how poorly things are going for Disney. It's just a continued downward trend. Pretty soon the movies won't even make enough to cover their production costs. Solo, a film that was widely viewed as a tremendous disappointment, grossed 84 million on its opening 3-day weekend, also around Memorial Day in 2018. Doesn't sound so bad, except for once you adjust for inflation, the 84 million in 2018 is roughly 112 million in today's dollars, which means the Mandalorian made 30 million less in its opening weekend than the biggest flop in the franchise. That's crazy. A flop so bad it ended plans for an entire series. It's crazy. The production budget for the film was an estimated $166 million. Through tax credits reportedly lowered the cost somewhat. Tax credits. Why is our government giving tax credits for movies? What's up with that? Marketing efforts were widespread, adding another 100 million at least. With a $266 million cost and a 50-50 revenue split for studios and theaters, the film likely needs to reach somewhere around $500 million to break even. And that's probably not going to happen. International grosses aren't exactly the cause for optimism either. So, again, it just shows that go woke, go broke. That's the bottom line. Go woke, go broke. Next thing, a stampede erupts at a South Carolina biker festival. 19 injured in a late-night chaos last night. Officials say one person started running, triggering a brief chain reaction within the crowd that lasted only a few seconds. At least this is yelling fire in a theater right here. And although it's legal to yell fire in a theater, you're still responsible for everything that happens. I don't think people understand that. They're like, you can't yell fire in a theater. Oh no, you can. It's actually protected speech. You can yell fire in a theater. However, you can be held civilly and criminally liable for all the injuries and deaths and damage caused by your negligence. So understand that it's not a constitutional thing. It's a civil and criminal thing because you've done something really dumb. And that's what happened here. Apparently, emergency crews responded about 1:05 a.m. near the stage area along South Ocean Boulevard after reports of a Stampede incident. This is dangerous. Go back to Fascinating Horror, a great channel here on YouTube called Fascinating Horror, and look at how many videos he has on Stampede deaths back in the 16, 17, 18, 1900s. It don't happen as much anymore. Why? Safety codes, fire codes, building codes. Every year we make everything safer, both existing and especially new construction. They used to have 1,000 people standing in a steel square, standing, watching a race or watching a ball game or something. And all it took was some panic. But go back and look, Fascinating Horror, and look at how many of those had Stampede incidents. It's crazy. And it still happens. Here it is. None of the injuries appeared life-threatening, according to the Horry County Fire Rescue chief that was on scene. With the help of on-scene law enforcement, 19 patients were located and evaluated for injury. Are you all right, Mama? Can I get that ear? What's wrong? 3 people were transported to the hospital with injuries, with the possibility of others self-transporting to local hospitals. Due to the number of injuries, they declared a mass casualty incident and designated the use to coordinate emergency response within multiple patients requiring evaluation. They got agencies from all over. In a statement to Fox News Digital, the town of Atlantic Beach said the incident began when one person started running, triggering what officials described as a brief chain reaction within the crowd that lasted only seconds. This is paranoia. And I'm not even saying it's wrong, okay? Because in some cases, man, you know, people are paranoid that people are just going to open fire at a big event, you know? People are scared that something's going to happen. And all it takes is someone yelling and screaming and running, and we ended up injuring 19 people, and nothing actually ever happened. So, yeah. But this does show you how when we get in crowds, we're all a little apprehensive. And I know I am. I don't like being in crowds. I don't go to big events anymore that much at all. I just don't even like being around big crowds anymore. Yeah, hey Lambert, what's up? Hey Sub-Zero, Subsystem Zero, welcome in, welcome. And of course my regulars, Deploribus Dispatch, thank you guys all for coming in tonight. Marine Girl, I missed you too. And Zenden, thank you guys for coming in. Cherokee George, it just works. Thank you, all of you, for coming in tonight. Got a great crowd forming up here, and I appreciate that. All right, let's see. Oh, let's see. Multiple law enforcement agencies and emergency agencies were already stationed throughout the event. So luckily, we had emergency services already on scene. Additional resources were brought in. EMS crews treated injured attendees at the scene before the festival resumed normal operations. There were never any confirmed incident. There were no fights, weapons, or direct threats to the public at any time. There was crowd control measures in place throughout the weekend, including temporary suspending incoming traffic into Atlanta Beach on Friday night and again on Saturday evening. While any incident is unfortunate, it's also important to recognize that this was an isolated moment and does not reflect the overall success of the event or the town. Yeah, I agree. Black Pearl Cultural Heritage and Bike Festival has been held for over 40 years and continues to attract visitors from across the country because of the positive experience that it provides. Officials say they will continue to review the incident with public safety partners to identify additional safety improvements that can be made. And that's all you can do. You know, every time something happens, we make the world safer. And that's true. Whether it's people burning up in a burning hotel, or whether it's a bad accident, or whatever it is, we learn from everyone. Plane crashes, my God, what we learn from a plane crash is crazy. I've been watching these plane crash investigations first thing in the morning. I like about an hour of some smart TV in the morning when I first get up. And so while I'm starting to check things out here, and I've been putting on these aircraft investigations, disaster files, and I also like Mentor Pilot. And I've been watching these different ones and how they investigate these plane crashes. And it's important. You guys know aircraft, man, that's the safest way to travel mile for mile. It's safer than trains, for Christ's sake. It's safer than cars and buses. It's because of all the years, anytime there's a crash, they learn everything they can learn about that crash, and then it changes the book in the cab of every plane. They changed the book, and now that's added to the procedure. I even was reading the other day about they've got this thing. I forget the name of it now. Damn it! It's basically a time management system for the cockpit, and how each person has their tasks. One is pilot flying, the other one is in the book trying to figure out what's going on or whatever. And they've got this thing, this whole, basically the workload, the way it's separated and stuff. It's really neat how they've done this, because workload is very important in a cab, in the cockpit of a plane. Especially now that we're only putting 2 pilots up there instead of there's no longer an engineer up there. So, all right, in July 25, the White House gunman, remember that last night? The White House gunman, he had a criminal record and a history of mental illness. In 2025 incident, he claimed he was Jesus Christ, and that he wanted to get arrested, according to court filings, because that's what Jesus would do, right? I mean, come on. Oh, I could say 3 other things, but I won't. The man fatally shot by Secret Service agents after authorities said he opened fire at a White House security checkpoint Saturday, had a documented history of encounters with law enforcement and mental health concerns. Thank you to our great Secret Service and law enforcement for the swift and professional action taken this evening against the gunman. This from the president. The gunman is dead after an exchange of gunfire with Secret Service. The dead gunman was identified as Nazir Best, a 21-year-old Marylander man who was previously known to the United States Secret Service around the White House complex, according to a July 2025 D.C. Superior Court ruling. In that incident, Best walked into a restricted area at the White House pedestrian access control point, ignored commands to stop, and claimed he was Jesus Christ and that he wanted to get arrested. He was arrested on an unlawful entry charge. Look, if Jesus came back, he would come to Florida. He's not going to go to D.C. It's terrible there. Anyway, all right. The filing said Best interacted with the Secret Service, walking around the White House complex and asking how to gain access to various entry points. It also said he had been involuntarily committed back in 2025 in June after obstructing vehicle entry to the White House complex. So this is like incident after incident with this douche. Officers requested a stay-away order barring Best from the White House area. It's pretty bad when the White House has to get a restraining order on some asshole. But anyway, that was according to the filing. The New York Post reported that a bench warrant was later issued after Best failed to appear for a subsequent hearing. Then Saturday, Best approached a checkpoint near 17th Street and Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest shortly after 6 p.m. Eastern Time, pulled a gun from the bag and opened fire on Secret Service officers. Officers returned fire, striking Best, who was taken to the hospital and died. A bystander was also wounded, though officials have not said who fired the round. Does it matter? Okay? I mean, if we're firing rounds to take down someone who's firing rounds at the White House, there might be some collateral damage. I don't care where the bullet came from. It's this man's fault. He's dead. There we go. A bystander was wounded, so there we go. No Secret Service agents that were injured. Trump was inside the White House at the time. He was briefed on the shooting and then immediately stayed in the room and went back to work. And they're trying to get more funding for Secret Service because of these just numerous attempts on Trump's life. And this is another attempt. I'm sorry. I know the left is probably like, this is just some crazy guy. No, this is a guy that was shooting at the window and Trump was on the inside. I mean, you have to look at it that way. He was shooting at the White House in the direction of the White House. Trump was in the White House. This is an attempt on Trump's life. I'm sorry, but that's the way I look at it. It was a shitty one, but thank God. And by the way, I'm convinced this man's not Jesus Christ, so there you go. The shooting briefly placed the White House on lockdown. Reporters on the North Lawn were rushed into the press briefing room as agents responded with weapons drawn. The lockdown was lifted about 40 minutes later. Authorities had not announced a motive as of early Sunday. The FBI and Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives were assisting the Secret Service and the Metropolitan Police Department in the investigation. And I'm sure they're all just cooperating so well with each other. They'll probably have a press conference so they can come out and tell us how well they're all cooperating together, because that's what they do. All right. Some sad news tonight. We lost a Boston firefighter last night. A Marine veteran and Boston firefighter dies after rescue efforts at massive house blaze. Robert Bobby Kilduff Jr. Responded to the Dorchester blaze Saturday night. All 5 residents managed to get out. The veteran Boston firefighter and Marine Corps veteran was killed while battling the 3-alarm fire. His name again, firefighter Robert Bobby Kilduff, Kilduff Jr., a 24-year-old veteran of the Boston Fire Department and member of Rescue 2, died after responding to the fire Sunday night on Treadway Road. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family who tragically was killed in the line of duty on the 3-alarm fire, according to the Boston Fire Department wrote in a statement. And then the rest of this, of course, is the mayors and everybody else. But it's just important to keep in mind, you know, I went, when I was a firefighter, my very first structure fire came in, and it was 2 miles from the station. And I can remember the chief telling me, grab the little truck out back in case we need it, because it was dry out and sometimes house fires cause brush fires. So I went and grabbed the old 1941 Dodge Power Wagon, and I followed the engines down to the house, and I went up there, and they're like, Hicken, suit up, go in. So I put my air pack on. I was young. I was 18 at the time. And so I suit up, and I go in. Well, there was no partner for me to go in with. We were a small department. 2 guys went in and went one way, and I went in, and the chief was behind me, but he didn't have an air pack on. This was in 1987, 88. It was a long time ago. And we had just gotten the first 6 air packs, maybe 2 years earlier. And we were starting to use air packs in house fires, cause duh. Anyway, so I went in, and I'm fighting this fire, and the chief was behind me, and he kept pushing me hose. So I kept fighting the fire. And sure enough, the roof came in on me and pinched off my hose. And I was trapped in there, and this thing was rolling, and I couldn't find a way out. And there was a little panic. I mean, I was like, oh my God, I got to keep a cool head. You know, I kept telling myself, I'm breathing, you know, and that's my air. It's going away as quick as I can breathe it in, you know. And I'm trying to slow my breathing. I'm trying to crawl around. The fire's rolling over my head. I have no hose. I get to a window, and I can remember seeing a window, and I pull the spanner wrench out of my pocket, and I start smashing the window. And now, by the way, this was back before every firefighter had a portable radio. This was back before we had any of the advanced equipment that we have today. And I start smashing this window, and somebody grabs my arm. It was a firefighter from another department that had just arrived, and he ran around back to see what was going on, and he sees me smashing a window. He grabs my arm and yanks me through the window. And so, even early in my career, I dealt with it. I was involved in an explosion. Thank God I lived. We didn't lose any firefighters during the nearly 20 years I was a firefighter. But you think about stuff like that. I had a few close calls. And when someone dies like this, it kind of brings it back a little bit for me. It's like, this could have been me. This could have been me at 18 years old. That could have been my last day on that fire on West Street. That could have been my last day at 18 years old. Instead, I'm 56 and I'm annoying you guys every night. So it's kind of one of those things. I think about stuff like this, But anyway, we did lose a hero last night. City of Boston. Robert Kilduff Jr. Godspeed. Died in the line of duty last night in a structure fire. All right, so let's move on. Next thing I wanted to show you guys, and this is kind of a little deep dive. I wanted to, like, each night I'm trying to do a little bit of paranormal and a little bit of news and a little bit of interest stuff. This is a place that I want to show you guys. So if you're ever down here in Fort Myers, this is not a paid advertisement, by the way. If you're ever down here in Fort Myers, I want to show you something really cool that exists down here. And here, let me just pull it up for you guys. As many of you may already know, Thomas Alva Edison, and yeah, that's his middle name, Alva. He actually had a middle name of Alva, and we have a town of Alva. And our town of Alva is named after him as well, his middle name. Why is this not working? Oh, here we go. God damn it. Whatever. Let's just take it. It's not framed right, but I don't care. All right, so this is it's called the Edison Ford Estates. And this is a really cool place. Mom and I are going to go there coming up at some point coming up pretty soon. But this place basically, this is where Thomas Alva Edison came to spend the cold winters down here in Florida. And you can actually see his historic home is here. And right next to it, as part of the museum property, is the Henry Ford estate, the guy that basically Ford Motor Company and helped invent the car, the whole thing. Right next to these two houses, which is not currently part of the thing, was Harvey Firestone's house. You can see how all this kind of came together. And they all lived right on the river, right on beautiful McGregor Boulevard. That's the tree you always see with all royal palms down both sides, because he started planting those, and we've been planting them ever since. And we've been keeping that line of palm trees alive down that road for miles. And you can see there a row of palms in that picture. But yeah, what a really cool place. This is Thomas Alva Edison's home. What a beautiful place. At Christmas time, they decorate all the trees, and you can go there in the evenings. It's beautiful. You can walk all around. The doors are open, and they got like a velvet rope, and you can look in, type of thing. But it's right on the river. All the land, the properties, you've got the laboratory, the museum, you've got all this really cool stuff. And his main house, this is what the estate looks like from overhead. This was a guest house. What an amazing property, and it's all here for you to see. It's like $28 or something. The money all goes into the restoration stuff. But yeah, here's the caretaker's house. By the way, the Edison cars are there. Some of the first cars made are here. You can see them. His pool, the swimming pool complex. You can see his study. He has a little bed there where he used to take cat naps. When I was a kid, my school used to bring us here every 2 or 3 years because, I mean, it was a great place to bring kids. I mean, come on. The Ford historic home, you can see that. You can get the look in there and everything. That's Henry Ford's winter estate. Here's the cars that I told you about. Look at that. Some of these cars run. They're in the parade every year. These cars are older than my grandfather. So really, really cool stuff. And I just wanted to show you guys what's available out there, even in a little town like Fort Myers, where we don't really have a lot here. But yet there's still a lot of stuff here. They've got a neat store there where they've got all, you can buy all the kinds of memorabilia. One of the neatest things you can buy here? Genomes. You can actually buy a bamboo shoot from the original Edison bamboo. He actually used to do hybrids and make. He did science with biology too, and he had specific types of bamboo and different things there, and they grow it, and you can actually buy the original Edison clipping that you can then take home, and you can have your own official Edison. It comes from that genome or whatever. So I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a really cool place. I just wanted to bring it to y'all's attention. I don't know. I just think it's a really cool place. This is the museum. This is what it looks like. You really get a good close-up look at these cars. Yeah. Really cool stuff. Lots of really neat stuff. There's some visitor information. But anyway, I just wanted to bring this to your attention. I went doing some research there to see if they were ADA compliant for Mom. And just a beautiful website. And I said, I'm going to show everybody this tonight. Yeah, sometimes snow, baby. I agree. Well, it's here in the free state of Florida, Southwest Florida. It's in the Fort Myers area. It's actually right near downtown. It's walking distance from downtown. It's right along the river. It's a beautiful place. So if you're ever down here, if you're ever down in Fort Myers or in the Southwest Florida area, it's definitely, especially if you're into science, it's something worth checking out. Yeah. Some of these cars actually run, and they're in the parade every year. Yes, there you go. So there's the other half of the story up in Ohio, where he lived during the summer. He made a lot of his breakthroughs up there, but he made some of them down here as well. And they have one of the original Edison tube phonographs. The cylinder phonographs, and they've still got all kinds of that kind of stuff there. Some original light bulbs that he actually made. They've got some light bulbs there that have been burning for 100 years. They don't burn out. They never burn out. It's stuff he made. It's really, really cool. All right, so that's it. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Let's see what else we've got in the news. It's a slow news cycle today. Yesterday was a pretty big news cycle, but today, not as much. You ever wonder why the pyramids are so resilient against earthquakes? Well, me too. And so there we go. I found this article. I thought it was really interesting. I got it from Coast to Coast AM. If you want to read it, it's there. The ancient wonder of the world has stood for 4,500 years, but why hasn't earthquakes caused it to collapse? To stand at the base of the Great Pyramid is to behold a structure that has stood the test of time like few others have, a monument to the skills of a civilization long relegated to history. But whereas many other structures over the millennia have succumbed to natural disasters such as earthquakes, the Great Pyramid seems particularly, and perhaps even unusually, resilient. Now, according to a new study, this is because the ancient builders of the remarkable structure actually made it resilient by way of certain architectural features built into the stonework. By analyzing vibrations through the structure, researchers found that a series of chambers known as pressure relieving chambers actually dampen seismic movement towards the top. The structure's huge base and symmetrical geometry have also served to be stabilizing factors over the millennia. When an earthquake happens, the vibrations don't transfer through the structure the way you would expect, effectively protecting the Great Pyramid from the typical damage that might be caused by these earthquakes. The discovery not only emphasizes the remarkable skill of the people who built it, but also provides important information that could help scientists understand how other ancient monuments have survived for thousands of years as well. Very, very interesting that even 4,500 years ago, humans built in features into these that dampen the vibration of earthquakes. Now, you can do the poo-poo thing if you want. Oh, they lucked up on that. No, I actually think these people were smart. I think they had technology back then. Look, there's an old junkyard, or a place where they had old cars and stuff, right down from my house, up in Blairsville in the mountains. And underneath this canopy of trees, there's this old Ford truck that's sitting in this field. And it's been sitting there, I don't know, 60 years, 65, 70 years. There's nothing left of it, really. The engine block's still there. The two axles are still there. I think the rims are still there. But the body is completely rusted away. And the engine even is starting to rust away. And in another 100 years, that car will be nothing but you'll see a rust mark on the ground where it used to be. So in other words, our best piece of technology in 1948 or 52 or whenever that truck was parked there, 75 years later is over half gone. In 150 years, that car will be nothing but a rust stain on the ground. 1,000 years past that, even the rust will be gone, and nothing will remain of that car. So how can we say there was not technology in the Great Pyramids? How can we say they did not have hydraulics, electronics, computerization? How do we know? Anything made back then out of metal that would be able to transmit electricity, that would be able to work, provide pressure, provide lift, provide those kind of things. Any of that technology would be lost over the years, and all that would remain is the stone. These pyramids are the only thing that remains because they're the only thing that would remain after 4,500 years. Humans have had advanced technology before, and they've lost it. And then they've regained it again. I'm convinced that the pyramids were built by humans, but I'm also convinced that they were built by technologically advanced humans. They were building these things because They had something to do with communicating in space, transporting in space, something, creating energy from space. They're just too perfectly aligned. They're perfectly aligned with all kinds of different things. And they're too perfectly built. Hey, KC1ZEL. Hey, what's going on, Mason? Glad you made it in. We're here every night at 9 o'clock. All right. I love to see ham radio. I started in ham radio with YouTube, but I just could never build an audience because it was too narrow of a field. So I just widened it out to news and science, and here we go. Now our numbers are pretty good. I do want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I'm glad you're here. It's now 10:07 on the East Coast, 7:07 on the left coast, and 9:07 in Tampon Timland. And I want to thank everybody for being here. Having a nice evening in Houston. It is hot here. We had a little bit of rain earlier, which helped, but hey, Walker. Yeah, snow, that could be. They've done some pretty ignorant shit. Anyway, yeah. So I just thought that was, a fun article, and it really, it brings up this whole thing with me that people are saying, well, they didn't have technology back then. How would you know? Our best technology now, in 300 or 400 years, even plastic. The sun eats plastic. You know, everything we make our stuff out of, all that will be left of a computer building, all that will be left in 1,000 years is little specks of gold and silver. Yeah, there's pyramids all over the world. There's pyramids all over the world. All different kinds. The Mayans, the Aztecs, the Toltecs, the Great Pyramids, the my God, I mean, watch Stargate. You'll figure it all out. There's even pyramids on Mars. Just ask Richard C. Hoagland. That's correct. Yep, I agree, Heath. Let's get a like and a subscribe going, guys. I really appreciate it. Hit that like, thumbs up button, and subscribe. It doesn't cost a thing. However, if you really like the show, you can become a member for $2. $2, man. It's the best deal on the internet. What can you buy for $2? You can't even get a soft drink for $2 anymore. Here's an interesting one. Scientists thought Jupiter's moon Europa was ejecting water, but now they're not so sure. The evidence for water vapor plumes on Europa isn't as strong as we first understood. Astronomers have studied 14 years of Hubble Space Telescope observation of Jupiter's icy moon Europa, and now suspect that its infamous water vapor eruptions may not exist as was previously thought. Europa has long been a hot target for scientists aiming to investigate the habitability of nearby worlds and the possible existence of life elsewhere in the solar system. It's surmised that it's one of the more likely places that we could find some kind of life. And I'm leaving that very open. Bacteria, some kind of extremophobe type life form. If you remember, I think it was Europa, if you remember, in 2010, when they're heading back, the being or whatever instructs the spacecraft to turn its antennas towards Earth and to transmit a message that says all the planets in the solar system are yours except Europa. Attempt no landing there. And that was cool because that kind of told you that, hey, that's where the next life is going to spring up. And the God creature doesn't want us messing with that planet. It's pretty cool. Anyway, Europa, it's because they think that this moon is thought to host a global subsurface ocean that possibly harbors some of the essential elements for life under its thick, icy shell, including complex organic chemicals and water. The faint and difficult to detect plumes were previously thought to originate from the vast global saltwater oceans lurking beneath the icy shell of Europa. This material is thought to erupt from cracks in the icy shell of the moon. Now, previous evidence of the existence of these plumes has been called into question by the very scientists who initially found them and proposed what they were. Mama, my goodness. The evidence for water vapor plumes on Europa isn't as strong as we first understood it. To reconsider the existence of Europa's water plume eruptions, the scientist and his colleagues... Mama, what did you do? To reconsider the existence of Europa's water plumes eruptions, the scientists and his colleagues looked at 14 years of data regarding Europa's collection by the Hubble using its HST and STIS instrument, Hubble Space Telescope Imaging Spectrograph. In particular, they honed in on a specific wavelength of ultraviolet light called Lyman alpha emissions, which is emitted and scattered by hydrogen atoms. Rutherford and his team had been detecting Lyman alpha emissions from Europa between 2012 and 2014, but this investigation was pushing Hubble to its very limits. One of the difficulties in interpreting the data back then was determining where to place Europa within the context. The way Hubble works left some uncertainty in terms of placement relative to the center of the image. If Europa's placement was off even by just 1 pixel or 2, it could affect how the data gets interpreted. The team feared that the detection of water vapor plumes from Europa may have been the result of noise, or what they call artifact, in the data. Hey Victor, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Snow Baby, you just received a 1-month free membership to the channel from Victor. So thank you for that, Victor. I appreciate it. Our analysis took our original 99.9% confidence in the plumes and brought it down more towards 80 or 90%. So it's one of those things where science evolves. That's why this whole thing about global warming is evolving. And here, this is kind of the same thing. As more data comes in, we can research it, and we find out that our original hypothesis was possibly wrong. That's how science works. That's not how science works on the left, but that's how science works in the real world and on the right. They cannot confidently rule out the existence of Europa's water vapor, especially as similar plumes have been seen more confidently. But it does bring into question exactly what's going on up there. Yeah, I think life will... I think that this has all been put here for life to form. Absolutely. Oh, man. All right. So that's what I had there, and I thought that was an interesting story. Like I said, on the weekend, it's a much slower news cycle on the weekend, and there's not as much news being released. As far as the fires in California, there's been no big changes to the fires. We're still watching that Sandy fire. It's still only at 2183 and it's 75% contained. They are getting a handle on these fires. The biggest fire right now is burning on Santa Rosa Island, and that one is 18,000 acres. It's burned roughly half the island. But most of the other ones are smaller. The only other large fire is the Bain fire, which is 1,400 acres, and it's now 95% contained. So the brush fire situation in California is stabilizing slowly. All right, and let's see here. Tonight, coming up tonight at 1 a.m. Eastern time, 1 a.m. Eastern, George Knapp on Coast to Coast AM will have on a former program manager at the Defense Intelligence Agency, and they're going to discuss the AAWSAP, the largest and most secretive U.S. government UFO program in history. He'll also bring us new insights into the Pentagon-approved UFO disclosures, which we just got the second one. In the second half, he's going to have on filmmaker Michael Lazowski. He's going to discuss his new film Sleeping Dog, which documents journalist Jeremy Corbell and the risks and the heavy toll he took on while reporting on UAPs. This guy developed an early obsession, yeah. So anyway, he joined up with Universal Studios Hollywood, and he did Halloween Horror Nights and all that kind of stuff. Probably going to be a neat guest. Okay, so that's coming up tonight with George Knapp, who is the weekend guy on Coast to Coast AM on 650 radio stations worldwide. I guarantee there's one in your town. My station is the Coast to Coast station in Southwest Florida, 92.5 in frequency modulation. All right, let's see. Yeah, New Scum. I call him Douche Newsome. I like that, but New Scum is good too. He actually thinks that after his crazy wife came out, made an absolute ass of herself for about a week, and then she went back undercover again. He still thinks he's going to be president. He went from 19% to 17% in the polls. He's now neck and neck with Kamala, I've never had a deep thought in my life, Harris. Yeah, it's crazy what's going on right now. The left is in trouble. And behind that, you've got Boot Edge. And total douche at like 9%. Total beta male. And then you've got Michael Francis Beto O'Rourke. And he is, or Robert Francis, whatever. Who cares? Anyway, you got him. That's what their bench is. Oh, and I failed to mention Ocasio-Cortez. Yes, AOC. The A to the O to the C. Yeah, she's running for president. She thinks she's going to be president. She'll settle for Senate right now, but she thinks she's going to be president. Yeah, you can listen to it. Like if you don't get Coast to Coast or you don't pick up the radio station well at your house or whatever, it's real easy to listen over the internet. You can listen to KFI FM 640 there, Sub-Zero put in. You can listen to that on the iHeartRadio app. You can also go to TuneIn and put in 92.5 Fox News. That's my channel. It'll come up. You can listen to it on there. You can pay a nominal fee and listen to it, and they play music during the commercials. It's kind of cool. I was a Streamlink subscriber for years with Coast to Coast, and I liked it because I would download all the shows. Well, CHAG, I agree. I agree. It's no longer right and left. It's right and wrong. And although the right's not perfect, the left is always the one embracing the bad guy. The left is always the one that wants to change capitalism to communism. They're always the one that supports the bad guys. They support Hamas. They support terrorists. They support Maduro. They support the Ayatollah Khomeini. They support all of these different things. And so, yeah, you're right. And that's why the song I started the show with tonight is called "It's No Longer Right and Left, It's Right and Wrong." And that's true. It is. You're either on the right side of history or you're not. You're either on the side of patriotism in America or you're not. It has literally become that simple. I hope so. Listen, tomorrow night I will be live and I will be carrying whatever's going on. There's going to be events going on tomorrow night. I will be carrying those. As far as July 4th, it's a Saturday this year. It's the 250th anniversary of our country. I will be live with a special long-form edition that night, and we're going to have the fireworks all over the country on multiple screens. We're going to be covering different speeches and different events that are going on. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, it's going to be great. And yeah, we'll do a moment of silence tomorrow night for Memorial Day, and we'll also do one on July 4th as well. And yeah, you know, I'm also going to be doing a live show coming up on September 11th. That's the 25th anniversary of 9/11. Do you believe that? 25 years. We lost all those people and all that stuff and all that, everything. It all happened 25 years ago. I'm going to have a special show that night. And we're going to go back and we're going to talk about a lot of the different things. I'm taking it from a different point of view, but we are going to be watching some of the things. It's not going to be a horror show, but I do have some rarely seen video. I've got some radio traffic. I've got some different things we're going to do that night. It's going to be a rough night, but we're going to do it. They deserve it. Also on September 9th, the 60th anniversary of the first episode of Star Trek. I'm going to do a special episode that night too. So we've got some stuff coming up. I mean, we've got some's going to be sad, a lot's going to be really positive and good, starting tomorrow night with Memorial Day, and then July 4th coming up after that. So July 4th is only like 6 weeks away, guys, and we're there. So I think it's like 6 weeks. Let's see here. Yeah, it's 6 weeks from yesterday. So it's 6 weeks from yesterday. Yes, and September 8th, that night, we will be talking about the Great Galveston Storm of 1900. It's a story that needs to continuously be told. And, yeah, a big anniversary coming up for that. Yep, if you guys can hit that thumbs up, I really appreciate it. We got 50 viewers out there right now watching the show, and I've got 46. Yeah, I've got 50 viewers and 25 likes. So come on, guys, give me the thumbs up. You like it, right? It doesn't cost anything. No, the Constitution does not directly mention an economic system. That is correct, Dom. That being said, our country was established on capitalism. It was established by people that were sick of paying taxes. and they were truly capitalists. The men who signed the Declaration of Independence, they were farmers. Some of them were rich, some of them were middle class, and they were farmers and builders and craftsmen and things like that. I mean, they believed in capitalism. This whole thing was founded on capitalism. So yeah, I agree with you. It's not necessarily mentioned in the Constitution. Remember, the Constitution is not directions on how to run the country. The Constitution is a document that does one thing. It protects you from your government. It's not an instrument of statute. There's nothing in the Constitution that affects you. You cannot get in trouble for anything in the Constitution. Why? Because the Constitution is not the rule of law, except for the law for the government. It's the law of the land for the government. That's what makes it so unique. It protects you from your government. Congress shall make no law abridging the rights of free speech. The Constitution specifically is written as a rule book for the government on how to treat their own people. And that's what makes it so special. That document was literally written as guardrails for our government. Guardrails that protect our property on the side of the road. The Fourth Amendment keeps them off your property, keeps them out of your house, keeps them out of your car without PC. The Fifth Amendment protects identity, protects a lot of things. Of course, the Second Amendment protects your right to bear arms. The First Amendment, with its 5 facets, protects your right to redress your government, protects your right to assemble, it protects your right to share and express your religion. It gives you the right as a citizen journalist to do what Nick Shirley did and to go expose the bullshit as a citizen journalist, because it gives you the right of the press. All these things are so important. And again, every single thing I'm talking about right now in the Constitution, every single thing in the Constitution does not protect anybody from anything except it protects you from your government. That's what it does. That's what it does. It's guardrails for the government. And that's why it's so important. The statutes, the penal codes, the USC codes, all these different books, those are laws that apply to you. The Constitution is a law that applies to the government. And it applies to every government, from our water hyacinth control district here that gets 63 cents a year of my money, all the way up to the President of the United States. They all have to follow the Constitution to the letter, or we can sue them and we can hold them accountable. That's true. The separation of church and state, what that means and how it applies is we cannot be a theocracy. We cannot be a government where our laws are based on the Bible. Okay? And I agree with that. The Bible was not written to be a law book. Okay? And so I think they did this the right way. But their atheists have blown it way out of proportion over the years. It doesn't mean that you can't have the 10 Commandments on the wall in this school if the community wants it. It doesn't mean that you can't teach Bible verses in a public school if the community wants it. All that shit's been put in there later. You're right. It's not in the Constitution like that. All it says is that we as a government will not be a theocracy. And no, I don't know the exact words, but that's it. It doesn't want us to be a religious government, kind of like what happened in Iran. And I don't want that either. I love our government. I love Christianity. I think it's good the way it is. But they also blow it out of proportion. You can't have that in the schools. Yeah, you can. You certainly can. We've gotten to where we're scared to say the word Jesus Christ in a public school. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I that whole separating of church and state thing is something that has been blown way out beyond its proportions over the years. That's right. That's pretty much all it says. The government cannot sponsor a religion. The government cannot be based specifically on. Now, our government is, our original government is based in Christianity. That's the religion it started in. And there's nothing wrong with that either. But this prevents the government from coming in and saying, we only have one religion in this country, and it's Christianity, and that's it. And I agree with that, too. We shouldn't have one religion. We should have the freedom of religion. And that's what we have, and I like it. All right. Yep. Yeah, the Bill of Rights, first 10 amendments, basically, are the most important document. It's the most important thing ever written. And if you look at all these other documents in all these other countries, it's not like ours. Even the Canadian Charter of Rights, which was kind of written based on ours, some of the other countries, like Western Europe, they're not near as free as we are. They don't have quite the pushback that we do. You know, you can walk right into City Hall with a camera. There's nothing they can do about it. You can walk in there and you can tell everybody in there they suck. As long as you do it quietly and you do it calmly and, you know, whatever. You don't cause a big scene. You can do those things. You can stand out in front of City Hall, on the steps of City Hall. I watch a guy named Jeff Gray. On here, you can find him on YouTube. Jeff Gray. He is a civil rights. He champions civil rights, and what he does is he goes and he stands on the steps of City Hall with a little sign that says, "God bless the homeless vets." He does not accept money. He will not accept money, and he tells people he's not collecting money. The sign says nothing about money. It simply says, "God bless the homeless vets." Now, if he's standing there with a sign, that's freedom of speech. He's recording it and putting it on YouTube, that's freedom of press. He's saying, "God bless the homeless vets," that's freedom of religion. And he stands there with his buddies, that's freedom of assembly. You see where he's going? This guy actually has all 5 of the provisions for the First Amendment right there. And they show up and they arrest him and they put him in jail, and he wins the lawsuit every time. It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. Now, a lot of times the cops know. They pull up and they're like, "Well, we can't do anything about it." And they go in and tell the people, "We can't do anything about it. He's legal." But a lot of times they pull up and they smash him into the car and they put him in jail. And trust me, those videos get 5 million hits. You're right about that, good old Bukkake. they'll use your system against you until they can get rid of your system because you're no longer the majority. That's correct. Yes, that's true, Heath. Islamic law and the Quran are contrary to the way we do things here. Completely contrary. And there is no reconciliation. That's probably why I'm so worried about what's going on in Iran right now. Because I'm not sure that a good faith deal can be worked out. And if it's worked out, I'm not sure that it's going to hold. These assholes use a ceasefire so they can build more bombs and rearm. And then they end the ceasefire by sending over more bombs. But we've got to get these fuel prices down before the midterms. We've got to get gas down to $2 a gallon within 30 days, before 30 days before before the November. So say by October 1st, which is a ways away still, we've got to get these gas prices way down by October 1st in order to ensure that things are going to go well in the midterm. And we all got to get off ass and go vote. Yes, I agree with George Washington, but you can we're doing it correctly now, I think. You know, I do. I think we need a little bit more church and Bible in schools, and I think we need a little more church and Bible in our functions and in our government and things like that. But I don't want to get carried away. Look, you can go look at the kids that are raised in households where they go to church every week, and then those kids go to private school where for 13 years they go to an evangelical school, and they hang around with other children that have morals and decency, and then when they graduate, they're 5 years ahead of all the people that come out of public school. They're smart. They got a great head on their shoulders. Why can't we see that? Why can't we see that? When people say, Christianity, this and that, it seems to be a pretty damn good way to raise your children. Let me just put that out there. All right? Because these kids, these takeovers that are going on, have you guys heard about these takeovers? We've got these children doing takeovers now. Most of them, I guarantee, were not raised in a Christian household, for Christ's sake. Well, pun not necessarily intended right there. Oh, what do we got? What do we got? Oh, a new severe thunderstorm warning right here near Parker, South Dakota. Aren't we in South Dakota? Yeah, we're still in that little spot down there in South Dakota. We're moving east. And that's a pretty nasty thunderstorm right there. Not a lot of rotation, though. That's why these things are not getting tornado warnings, because we don't have a big tornado threat tonight, but we do have a severe thunderstorm threat tonight. Straight line winds and that kind of thing. Yeah, well, good old Bukkake, nothing's ever perfect, but yeah, this takeover thing, it's happening all over the place. I was pulling up the article here, and of course they've reshuffled everything. There it is. Viral teen takeovers unleash chaos nationwide as malls, beaches, and restaurants become battlegrounds. Incidents have erupted in D.C. Navy Yard, Chipotle, to the Georgia Beach Pier, the Detroit streets, and the Wisconsin Mall. So it's happening everywhere, from upscale waterfront neighborhoods to malls, parks, packed restaurants. Viral teen takeovers are erupting across the country, with police responding to fights, robberies, and vandalism, and gunfire as massive crowds of juveniles overwhelm public spaces. In recent months, chaotic scenes have unfolded from Washington, D.C. Navy Yard to a Georgia Beach pier, downtown Detroit in the entertainment district, and a shopping mall in Wisconsin. And they also packed into a Chipotle restaurant, causing lots of damage. Screaming teens hurling chairs and hurting customers. Here are 5 teen takeovers that made headlines across the nation just in the last week or so. Viral Chipotle takeover. One of the year's wildest takeover scenes exploded inside a packed Washington, D.C. Chipotle, where screaming teens are caught on camera throwing chairs, brawling, and sending horrified customers scrambling for safety. The now viral footage followed... let me see if I can get this here. The now viral footage shows adults and young children huddled in the corner of a Navy Yard restaurant as groups of juveniles hurled furniture across the dining area on May 16th. At one point, a suspect appeared to use a child's high chair as a weapon before throwing it across the restaurant. The Metro Police Department later released surveillance images of 4 juvenile suspects wanted in connection with the melee, while the FBI announced a $5,000 reward per suspect, and local police offered an additional one. Why do we have to pay people to come forward? What kind of world is this, where we got to pay assholes to come forward and tell us who this is that screwed up our restaurant, or that frightened people, or where are we at that we got to bribe people to be honest about what's going on out there? These are not harmless gatherings. They're violent and disruptive. They cause damage and injury. They do it because they feel they can get away with it, period. That's what makes these so dangerous. They're doing this, whether it's taking all the shoes out of an Adidas shop, or whether it's this Chipotle or a shopping mall or whatever they're doing. They're doing it because the numbers of people that they're able to bring in because of social media, when all those people show up, they become empowered. It's called the wolf pack syndrome. You get enough people doing a bad thing, and they pack up like wolves, and they'll do things that people normally wouldn't do out by themselves. It's the same thing when your dog goes out and runs with the other dogs in the neighborhood and takes down cattle or something. This happens out in rural areas. And everybody's like, my dog would not do that. No, they wouldn't. But when they start running with a pack, they'll do whatever that pack's doing. And that's the same thing here with these people. And a lot of these people ain't much better than animals. A violent DC takeover erupts into gunfire in an upscale area, let's see, of DC in this was back on March 14th, overwhelming the area with fights, robberies, and gunfire despite a newly established juvenile curfew zone. Laws don't help. Jesus. Oh, we made a law. They shouldn't be doing it now. They don't care about law. That's the whole idea of these things. Duh. But we made a new law that should have fixed it. You're an idiot, just like they're an idiot. Police said the crowd began gathering near First Street and New Jersey Avenue Southeast before swelling to roughly 200 teens by the evening. Video showed large groups of black-clad teens running through the streets, screaming and fighting as officers attempted to disperse the crowd. Authorities said one teen fired a gun into the air inside the park, while other juveniles were assaulted and robbed during the chaos. Police ultimately arrested 2 juveniles and recovered 2 firearms. Yay, way to go. Out of 200, you got 2 of them. That's 1%. Good job, guys. 1%. Awesome. That's about how many murders you solved last year, too. 1%. Blue cities need to wake up. Former Biden White House advisor wrote on an X post that when the chaos erupted. Interim Metropolitan Police Chief Jeffrey W. Carroll condemned the violence and said the behavior would not be tolerated. Really? Because you're tolerating it. You arrested 2 of the 200 people. Good job. Georgia beach town erupts in panic after gunfire. I almost said it erupted into a picnic. That would have been much more fun, and it would have tasted better as well. But anyway, Georgia beach town erupts into panic after gunfire at a teen takeover. What began as an unpermitted pop-up event near Georgia's Tybee Island Pier quickly turned chaotic when police say gunfire rang out, sending massive crowds of teens stampeding across the beach community on April 4th. Authorities said hundreds of people gathered near the popular pier in the pavilion area before officers heard a single gunshot and watched the crowd panic and scatter. Video released by police captured hordes of teens sprinting away from the packed beachfront. If you got a tip, please call the police. We're here to help, but it's like drunk white girls. What? I don't know what that even means. Investigators later searched for 2 individuals seen emerging from beneath the pier as police worked to determine where the gunshots originated. Then we've got the downtown Detroit situation. This one happening on April 11th when crowds of teens flooded city streets during a takeover that police say had been heavily promoted on social media. Viral videos showed large groups running through the downtown as officers moved in to break up the gathering. Authorities confirmed a gun was fired during the chaos. Note every one of these, there's at least 1 shot fired. I want you to notice that. These are not your liberal blue hair teachers union people that are out there holding signs in inflatable dinosaur costumes. All right? These are piece of shit thugs running around with pistols in their pants. So just remember that. They did detain multiple people and wrote some tickets. I'm telling you, in these liberal cities, they've taken the teeth away from the cops. The cops are gumming people now. They've taken their teeth out. We had people throwing rocks at the cops, so we wrote them a ticket and let them go. What? What? They're involved in a riot. They go to jail, and they sit in jail, and they can't get bonded out till morning because they were involved in a violent act. What's going on? It's just like domestic violence or any other violent act. There's a cool down period. Just like a DUI. You don't release people with a ticket on the side of the road when they're throwing rocks at cops. What are we doing? And then finally, a mall melee explodes as hundreds swarm a Wisconsin shopping mall. Wisconsin! It's like a place known for cheese. Hundreds of teens descended on Wisconsin's Bayshore Mall after social media posts advertised a takeover event went viral, sparking fights and chaos throughout the shopping center on March 29th. God damn it. I hate producing my own show. It's difficult. One shocking video appeared to show teens shoving through the doors of Kohl's department store as screaming spectators filmed the brawl. Other footage showed hooded teens running through the plaza, throwing punches and fleeing from police. Authorities say ultimately arrested 13 individuals on charges ranging from disorderly conduct and battery to resisting an officer, as businesses and shops were left caught in the chaos. There was a lot of damage. A lot of theft. What are we doing, guys? I mean, what are we doing? I don't... Cities are scrambling now to contain growing takeover trends. How do you deal with this? I mean, the first thing you have to do is you got to get... Your police department has to make up fake names on these social accounts so that you can get in there and make friends with people so you can find out when these things are going to happen. That's the bottom line. I know that sounds crazy, but that's what we need is intel. We need to find out when these things are going on so we can bring in the extra officers and we can do something. You know what? Let's take a lesson from the Germans, right? It's called a blitzkrieg. That's right, it worked for them. What we need to do is find out when they're going to do one of these and stage up 100 officers around the corner. And then when the shit starts, you blitzkrieg. Yeah. Might as well, right? And you rush in there and you arrest everybody. Everybody that's involved that is committing a crime gets arrested. The rest of them get an order to disperse. Count down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and arrest them too. This is not free speech. This is riotous behavior. This has nothing to do with free speech. They're not holding signs. They're not conveying a message. They're not redressing their government. Okay? This is riotous, and it's designed to be such. Hey, Carlotta, and I know that to be true. Oh, goodness. Yes, I think Antifa, I think other groups, I even think there's some Muslim influence. The big unions, they're all socialist, liberal unions. There's a lot of different people that are pulling strings in the background on these things. A lot of people, and I've only mentioned a few. Yeah, so there's a lot of that. Yeah, throw a thumbs up on there, guys. We're trying to get that thumbs up tonight. We got 45 people in there, and we still only have 33 likes. We've had over 422 people in tonight. Please give us that thumbs up. It don't mean nothing to you, but it sure means a lot to us, and it doesn't cost a thing. All right, so... They're in several cities. They've responded with increased patrols, curfews, mass arrests, while others are pushing for expanded youth programs and tougher accountability for parents. You know, let me tell you something, and you may disagree with me on this. This is a point that not everybody agrees with me on, but here it is. Everybody's like, arrest the parents. Arrest the parents. And I'm sure some of you are out there right now thinking, arrest the parents. Arrest the parents. Most people that say arrest the parents have never been parents. Here's the problem, guys. The law forbids that you beat them. The law forbids that you spank them. The school's not allowed to beat them or spank them, which I don't agree with either. You're not allowed to kidnap them. You're not allowed to lock them in their bedroom. You're not allowed to handcuff them to the banister. And when they tell you, fuck you, Mom, I'm going out to riot, excuse the language, what do? How can you be arrested? You told them, don't go. I'm your mother, I'm your father, don't go. I'm forbidding you to go. F you, I'm going anyway. And now you want to go arrest that parent. What if you'd have showed up and he'd have had that kid hog-tied to the bed? You'd have arrested the parents. If you showed up and he was handcuffed to a banister, you would have arrested the parents. If you'd have showed up and he was locked in his bedroom, you would have arrested the parents. If you'd have showed up and he had welts across his ass, you would have arrested the parents. And now, when he goes out and he's unruly, you want to arrest the parents. Thank God I never had none of them little bastards. I am so glad I never had children. The law gives you no recourse to deal with your own children. What are you supposed to do? You can't beat them. You can't cage them. And I got news for you. The old school psychological horse shit that our parents used on us doesn't work anymore. Okay? Don't make me turn this car around. Look, that shit doesn't work anymore. They don't care about that shit anymore. So when they tell you, F you, I'm going to go riot at the mall, and you say, get back in your room, and they say, F you, I'm leaving, and they leave, what else were you expected to do as a parent? It's not your fault they're a hoodlum. They've been going to that God-blessed public school all this time. These public schools do nothing but indoctrinate your children into being socialists, and they bully your kids into being pricks and jerks. These kids do this stuff because of what they learn in public school. I guarantee you, if you took those 200 kids at that one riot, all 200 of them went to public school. All 200 of them went to public school. Now, a lot of them have parents that love them at home, but what were they supposed to do? You tell me what parents are supposed to do. Because if you're going to say parents need to be arrested when these kids do this stuff, then you need to give parents the tools they need. And I don't know how to do that. Because the moment you tell parents, go ahead and beat them, you'll have dead kids. I mean, it's just, it's the way it is. Humans suck no matter what they do. So what's the answer? They can't trap them. They can't handcuff them. They can't hog tie them. They can't hobble them. They can't lock them in their bedroom. They can't lock them in the storm cellar. What can you do? What do you do as a parent? And then now they want them to come arrest you if your teen's up at the mall during the riot. The nun with the ruler would be arrested today. Make spanking great again. I think we need to talk about that. I do. I don't believe in the school beating your child. I think that's something a parent needs to do. But I've always wondered how you can arrest a parent for neglect because they allowed their child to go out at night when they told their child not to go out at night, and the law gives them no recourse to prevent them from going out at night. In some states, you're not even allowed to lock their windows because of fire. I mean, this is crazy. You know, parents, when I was growing up, they'd screw the windows shut so you couldn't sneak out at night. We never had that problem at my house, but a lot of kids, their windows were screwed shut. Their parents didn't trust them. Nowadays, the kid would call the fire marshal and have you arrested for screwing the window shut. Kids reporting their parents. It's become a fun thing. The thing is, they would just go get another phone. I know that sounds crazy, But kids have resources today that they didn't have even just 5 or 10 years ago. They'll just go to Walmart and buy a burner phone, and they'll have their friend turn it on to their program or whatever, and boom, they've got a phone again. They don't care about that. They don't need you for that. I mean, I agree with you. You can start there, but that's not going to get you very far. Implanted tasers. Now we're getting somewhere. I should be able to drop my child from a bracelet, like in Star Trek. As soon as they screw up, I hit a button and they drop. They won't do that too many times, will they? All right. I know. You let the vehicle coast out of the driveway. Nowadays, cars are so quiet you wouldn't even hear it. But in the old days, and the houses are so much more quiet now inside. But in the old days, you would sneak out there and put the car in neutral and push it out of the driveway and down the road before you started it. Yeah. Growing up, my parents kind of let me do what I want because I was a good kid. I mean, my brother, on the other hand, not so much. Well, and Matt, that's the problem. That's the problem. Humans, they overdo everything. If you tell humans, look, start beating your child because this is ridiculous, the next morning you'll have a dead child. He got beat up too much. Humans are bad at this shit. Humans are bad at finding just the right amount of anything. We even have cups in the kitchen so we get just the right amount of flour. Because we're really just not good at it. Oh, Lambert, I think that might have just been a bad run of luck or something. Snow Baby, who's giving them money for the phone, their boyfriend's a drug dealer. Trust me, money's not a problem for these kids. Money's not a problem. They lie, they cheat, they steal. Trust me, it won't be a problem for them. Yep. Give us the thumbs up, guys. We're trying to do a little thumbs up thing tonight. See if we can get to 100. Throw a thumbs up in there. I appreciate it. All right. Well, it's getting late. It's after 11 o'clock. Let's do a last call in the chat room. If you guys have anything you'd like me to react to or talk about, please put it in the chat room now. I do want to thank everybody for being here. It's been fun tonight. There's Marco Rubio. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for being here. We'll be on for a few more minutes here as I go through the chat room. My name's Ian. This is a live broadcast from StarShip Studios in Southwest Florida, broadcasting worldwide on YouTube. The show, The Sights and Sounds of Earth. My name's Ian, the channel StarShip Adventures, and we are glad you are here tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night for another edition so that we can, it's going to be the Memorial Day edition. I'll have a few things we're doing then, plus all the normal weather and everything. Not expecting a lot of severe weather tomorrow. It's a next couple of days look to be fairly mild when it comes to all the bad weather. So there you go. Anyway, we're glad to have everybody in tonight. Let's see what we got in the chat room. Deploribus has run out of thumbs. I know, you only get one per show. It sucks. I think you should be able to put as many thumbs as you want. Just sit there and keep hitting it. On the television, I normally just arrow down, and it gives me a bunch of circles at the bottom, and one of them is a thumbs up. Your TV may be different, because they're all different, but that's how mine does it. Yep, sweet dreams out there, Marine girl. All right, and Carlotta, you have a good night, okay? We'll talk later. I'll be around tomorrow if you want to shoot me a call. I'll be hanging around here all day. All right, everybody, it's been fun tonight. It's been a great show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We covered a lot of good stuff. I did have a few articles today that I posted, that I wrote. I don't bullshit you guys, though. I mean, AI helps me with these. You know what I do? I dictate in notes on the article. Here's what I do. I read an article. Then I turn on the voice dictation for Grok, and I literally voice dictate all of the things in the article that I want to mention. That, this is wrong, this can't be this way, this has got to go. And I make a long list. Then I tell Grok, make me a scientifically detailed and informationally robust blog post for the following article. Please add these footnotes, and then please add this data, and I add it, all my thoughts, and then I paste in the article, the original article. And then Grok makes me my article written in my tone. And then it knows how to write for me because I've been training it. I pay for it and I train it. And so then I read the article and I make sure that it's correct. And then I post it. So instead of taking an hour and a half to write an article, it takes me about 15 minutes now. And it's still my opinion. It's still my writing. I've read it. I've made sure it's right. It's written in my tone and the way I write things. And I find that to be a great thing for someone like me that's trying to run a channel all by himself. So anyway, the articles I put out today, and I'll tell you guys what a disappointment. I went to Aldi's today for the first time. Our Winn-Dixie closed here. They closed about 2/3 of them down in the state of Florida, which sucks. We liked our Winn-Dixies. Winn-Dixie's very similar to a Piggly Wiggly. It was kind of a discount supermarket. It was still a full supermarket, but it was kind of Walmart prices. It was actually really good. And we have Publix down here, which is very much like Ingles, which is a top of the line grocery store. And you can go there and get the absolute best food, the best deli sandwiches, the best meats. But I liked my Winn-Dixie because it was a lot cheaper and they still had really good food, and it was right at the top of my street. Now it closed. So they built an Aldi's in there. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll try Aldi's. Talked to a few people that went to Aldi's. A couple of them said it sucks horribly. A couple of them said it wasn't so bad. They go there from time to time. And one actually said they liked it. Okay. So I'm on the way home today from spending the day with Mom, and it's about 2, 3 in the afternoon, and I didn't feel like going to Walmart. I drove by Walmart, and it was an effing madhouse, okay? Mad freaking house, because tomorrow's a holiday. So I said, well, I don't want to go in there. I do not want to deal with Walmart today, so let me go try that Aldi's for the first time, okay? So I drove down to Aldi's, and I arrive, and the first thing I notice is the front doors moved. They moved the grocery store's front door down. Why would they do that? Well, I found out why. I walked in. They divided the grocery store in half. It's not even a grocery store. Aldi's is not a grocery store. It's like a discount warehouse store or some shit, right? I walk in there. The shelves are all disheveled. There's like 3 rows of shelves. There's all this extra space where they're not even doing anything. There's two people that work there. A guy in the front that was working the checkout sitting in a chair. Never saw that before. And a guy that was restocking. I saw two people working there. I walked in. I started walking around. I go over to the frozen dinners because I eat a lot of frozen dinners. I eat a lot of fast food and a lot of frozen dinners. Folks, I'm a guy. I'm a great cook, but I live alone and I don't cook for myself. So, it is what it is. I go over to the frozen dinner selection. There's 2 doors of frozen dinners. I'm like, there is 20 doors of frozen dinners at Walmart. Oh my God. There's not a single meal there that I eat. Not a single meal there that I eat. Nothing. So I start looking around, and I'm starting to get pissed. I'm like, oh my God. This place sucks. Brands I've never heard of before. Stuff I've never seen before. Lots of ethnic items that I would not buy because I don't even know what they are. The shelves, they don't even stack things neatly on the shelf. Everything's kind of just thrown on the shelves. It's kind of weird. I don't know. It was kind of disheveled. It kind of looked like a house after they served the search warrant. And I was very disappointed. I was like, this is crazy. The meat, I'm a big meat guy. I buy a lot of fresh ground beef. I buy a lot of fresh little flank steaks and stuff that I like to cook. I'm a beef guy. They have nitrogen-packed beef. Nitrogen-packed. That's where they literally vacuum seal the meat in a container, but they fill it full of nitrogen. And remember, Walmart had these for a while, and they got rid of them because the customers didn't like them. So I can't buy any meat because it's all nitrogen-packed meat, which I don't like. So I worked my way down. I'm like, there's no canned goods. I never found any canned goods anywhere. And they had like a bunch of potato chips and shit on this one aisle. And then there was one whole aisle that was empty. And then there was another aisle that was like literally miscellaneous shit that the dollar store was getting rid of in the dumpster, all laying up there. Yeah, you can only do the thumbs up once. So anyway, I wrote an article today on it because I just really aggravated me. It really upset me. I'm like, they took out my entire grocery store just to put a wall down the middle of the grocery store. There's another whole side of the grocery store now that's open and available. And I walk in there and I'm like, it's funny because my neighbor, really nice lady that lives next door, I've known her for like 15 years now. She's in there, and I walked right up, and her and I and 3 other people are the only people in there. There's nobody in there, because I guess everybody realizes the place sucks. So I walk up to her, and I said, hey, I said, this place sucks. She goes, yeah, I know, I just didn't feel like Walmart. I said, well, that's why I'm here, because I didn't feel like dealing with Walmart and driving another 6 miles, 3 miles, whatever. And I said, where's the rest of the store? She goes, yeah, that's the first thing I noticed when I walk in. Is this place, it's not the size of a grocery store. It's more the size of like a Walgreens or a CVS pharmacy. I guess you guys don't have any Aldis up there. Yeah, Europe is good. Europe's circling the rim, ready to flush. They've let so many foreigners into their country. They've diluted their very culture. That's what's happening. UK, Western Europe, Eastern Europe, the whole thing. Some countries have pushed back, but many countries have just opened their borders up and allowed anyone to come in. And when you do that, you lose your culture. There's places over in England now where the Muslims outnumber the Christians on the city board, on the county board, the Providence board, whatever, and they're starting to change law to Sharia. They've got no-go zones. They've got Sharia cops that don't necessarily get paid by the government. Subsystem Zero, I would like to think that. I love that show. That's my second favorite show of all time behind Star Trek. Stargate SG-1, Stargate Atlantis, Stargate Universe, great franchise. Yep, all the Muslims moved in. And you know, it's not the people, it's the religion, it's the culture, it's what it is. And you're allowed to say what we're saying right now without being bad people. I'm allowed to protect my culture without being a racist. And that's literally what it comes down to. Yes. Yeah, you're even starting to see it in New York. And you're really starting to see it in places like Dearborn, Michigan. It's pronounced Dearborn, Michigan. They actually have police writing on their patches, and they're renaming all the roads after terrorists. Yep, hit that thumbs up, guys. We're trying a little thing tonight to get some thumbs up going. We've got like 40 thumbs up. We had 43 earlier, which means 3 of you actually went back and gave us a thumbs down or whatever. All right, well, I appreciate that, Heath. I try to put on a good show each night. Yes, Islam is a political system, and it's a religious ideology as well. Yeah, well, that's the thing. There's no-go zones where the regular cops don't go, and the Muslims take care of their own. Yeah, I don't believe in any indoctrination. However, we've got liberals indoctrinating our children in schools over the whole
MMIWG2SLGBTQQIA+
thing. You know, that's been going on for years. They've been indoctrinating our kids to hate our government and not be patriotic. And now we got the Muslims moving in and they're indoctrinating. We're losing our very culture. And whatever happens in the UK happens here 10 years later. I want you guys to keep that in mind. So watch over there. They're just a little bit ahead of us on this slide. You won't like me when I'm angry. Yeah. All right, guys. I guess that's about it for tonight. The storms are running out, and the feeds are running down, and I'm running out of material, and there we go. It's 11:20 on the East Coast, 7:20 on the left coast, and yep, we're here. Oh, did I get a promotion? Wow. Yeah, it's scary. Yeah, Marxism and Islam make a funny pairing. They'll use whatever system they got to use to get to the destination. Cats are here. Yes, Mama. She was sound asleep. I just picked her up. Sorry, Mama. I had to. I don't know. I owe you guys proof of life on Daddy Kitty. Let me go see if I can find him. I found him. Don't get mad at me, Mama Kitty. It's just for a few minutes. There we go. There's my Daddy Kitty. Easy. Easy. You be nice. I'll tell you what. You go right here. And that way you guys don't fight right in my face. All right. The only reason she gets upset is because this is her place. And when I bring these other cats in, she does not like it. She gets all snorty and stuff. She goes... Pff, pff, pff. What do you think, Daddy? His name is Goldie, but we call him Daddy Kitty because he takes care of all the kittens. Anytime we take in kittens... he's always right there, and he loves kittens, so we call him Daddy Kitty. He's like 10 or 11 years old, had a horribly broken leg when he was young. We tried to capture him to put him down, and we never could catch him. Then once the leg healed, he came wandering back up again, and we slowly became buddies. And he's been doing really good up until about 3-4 months ago. He had a stroke. And now he walks crooked. He don't seem to give a shit. Yep. Yep, and take that, you guys, just remember what the day's about tomorrow. There's nothing wrong with grilling and celebrating and all that, but just do remember what it's about. It's Memorial Day. It's not a celebration. It's an observance. That doesn't mean you can't go have a nice day with your family. It's a good day to do that. Just keep in mind, just like when it's Christmas, we want to keep, you want to keep Jesus in the season, right? In Easter, you want to keep Jesus in the season. It's the same thing here. This is Memorial Day, Veterans Day, these different days. We got to keep the real meaning there. And the real meaning, we just got to take 5 minutes and explain to your kids what this day is all about. This day is for the ones we've lost. Memorial Day is for the ones that didn't come home. The ones that are still scattered in a field somewhere in Europe. Or on a beach somewhere in the Pacific. Or in North Korea somewhere. Or Vietnam. Or the deserts of the Middle East. But that's what this day is for. It's not for the ones that have lived. It's not to recognize or note anything except those that have given it all. And that's what this one's all about. All right, so just remember that when you're having those hot dogs and those hamburgers tomorrow, and you're loving this country, the reason for the season tomorrow is the people that gave everything so that you could have this day. Just keep that in mind. All right, guys. I'm going to let you go. I got my new opener. If you guys have not watched it yet, it's great. I love the videos I was able to come up with. I had AI make me all new videos for this one, and I think you guys will like it. Yes, Veterans Day is for those that survived. That's the other day that I mentioned, yes. This day is Memorial Day. It's for the ones that did not. Exactly. All right, so yes, we will. We'll do a moment of silence tomorrow. Probably going to have a few stories. We'll have a few things, and we'll do our regular news roundup and cover whatever's going on tomorrow night. Trump did cancel some plans over the weekend. I know he's working with Iran right now. They're close to something. I don't know. I don't know if I trust or believe any of that bullshit anymore. But I will tell you, there's always a chance something big may happen this weekend. And so I'm monitoring every hour or so. I go on and check everything. And then as soon as something goes on, I will get, there's the woman that comes up every night. There she is. God, I can't stand that. I wish I could figure out how to do something about it. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that, Beard. Yeah, there you go. All right, guys, I am going to let you go. I'll play a song on the way out so you guys can have a few minutes to say goodbye to everybody. And then we're going to call it a night. I do appreciate everybody being here, though. And I hope to see you guys on the next show, which will be tomorrow night at 9 o'clock or earlier, if it calls for it. We'll see how it goes. All right, guys, I'm going to play a song. This is the other version of the one I played earlier. It's no longer right and left. It's right and wrong. That's right. You guys have a good night out there. My name's Ian. This is StarShip Adventures, the sights and sounds of Earth. And we are signing off for the night. 7-3s, everybody. 7-3s.
Well, I turned on the TV. What a sorry sight. Left us out there hugging every terrorist in the night. They scream from the river to the sea while rockets fly, then cry when the bad guys make the good guys die. They'll defend every dictator from Tehran to Havana. Long as he hates America, he's their kind of man. It ain't right and left no more. It's right and wrong. The left keeps picking the bad guys every time they sing their song. They love the tyrants, the thugs and the crooks, while the rest of us are working and reading the good book. Blue states are broken, red states are rolling in dough, but they still scream tax the rich like it's some kind of show. They march with blow-up rats and rainbow capes, blue-haired Karens and beta males in their safe space parade. They glue themselves to the road for the climate today. Tomorrow they're blocking traffic for some new Marxist play. They'll cancel your job if you don't use the right word, but defend every groomer and pedophile they've ever heard. It ain't right and left no more. It's right and wrong. The left keeps backing the bad guys singing the same old song. They cheer for the terrorists, the socialists, the crooks, while their cities burn down and they rewrite all the books. Blue states tax you till you're broke, red states let you keep your pay, but they still scream, eat the rich, every single day. California's bankrupt, New York City's a mess, Chicago's on fire and they blame it on right-wing stress. They spend like drunk sailors on every dumb idea, while red states are thriving with low taxes and cold beer. They print more money than a counterfeit ring, then wonder why inflation's got the middle class on the brink. They say they're for the people, but they hate the working man. They love every tyrant with a 5-year plan, from Hamas to Maduro, from Beijing to Tehran. If he hates America, he's there. They'll back the bad guys, the thugs and the crooks, while the rest of us are praying and reading the good book. Blue states are dying, red states are doing just fine, but they'll keep on spending till they run out of other people's dimes. Yeah, it ain't about left and right anymore. It's about right and dead wrong. Pass the beer, boys. We got work to do.
This is the YouTube channel StarShip Adventures, broadcasting live from StarShip Studios in North Fort Myers, Florida, in the United States of America. We thank you for joining us this evening for another broadcast of the Sights and Sounds of Earth, covering every breaking news story across this troubled planet of ours. We've brought you the raw, unfiltered pulse of the world in real time through our unique multi-screen format, broadcasting in high definition worldwide via fiber optic connection. StarShip Adventures, a new kind of YouTube content. To our regular viewers, our loyal crew members, our amazing moderators, and everyone who tunes in each night at 9 p.m. Eastern, we thank you. Your support keeps this independent voice alive and well. We'll be back tomorrow evening at 9 p.m. Eastern with another live edition of the Sights and Sounds of Earth, right here on StarShip Adventures. Until then, stay safe, stay informed, and may God bless you and these United States of America. This is StarShip Adventures, and this concludes our broadcast day. Good night, America, and around the world. Kilo Oscar 4, Echo Foxtrot Sierra. Signing off. QSY, 7 3s, everyone, 7 3s.